So, yeah, I was one of those people who didn't like their job, full-time salaried employment, corporate job, didn't enjoy it. And because success, right, these days, is wearing a suit and hating your job. Now, I accept that not everyone hates full-time salaried employment, and it is a good option for the majority of people. It's just hard to ignore that barrage of status updates on Monday morning, people saying, oh God, it's Monday again, I hate this, I resent my life, etc, etc, and they're feeding this frenzy of debt and having to work to pay the debt, etc, etc. And I personally railing against that now. That's the sort of the mission behind what I'd like to talk about today. Now, there is an alternative, and it's freelancing, right? And you can, yeah, you're slowly working out what the picture is, aren't you? I can see it in your faces. You can listen to that little voice that's telling you that you're probably better being your own boss, and you can earn a living doing what you enjoy. Right? You don't have to join the gravy train, okay? So, what we're going to talk about is whether freelancing as a career is suitable for you, because it doesn't suit everybody. Like, we should have a go, I suppose I would say that. We're going to talk about the characteristics of a freelancer, what they sort of are. We'll talk about a typical day, so to speak, and I've underlined way of life to remind me that it is a way of life. It's about forging a happy and fulfilling, sustainable living for yourself, and living responsibly as well. It's sort of, it goes beyond just your career. There's no such thing in freelancing as work-life balance. It's just life, and that's the way it should be. Okay. And I'm going to move on towards the end about how to get started, and hopefully give you a few practical steps that you can take now that will make that transition into freelancing a little bit easier. And that is my goal, is to expedite your move into freelancing, hopefully, or at least just tell you that there is another way, an alternative way to live your life that doesn't involve debt and arguments and hating your job. Okay? Does that sound good? Yeah, good notes. Right, thank you. Right, natural freelancer. There are certain characteristics that I've noticed among the freelance community about people who take to it more naturally. They just seem to go into it a lot more easily. It just agrees with them. And I want to, before I describe this person, I'm going to say that doesn't preclude you from trying it. If it doesn't sound like you, don't worry. Right, this person, they tend to be free thinkers. They're independent-minded people, freelancers. They know their own mind. And they tend to not get on with authority figures. They're not anarchists, but sometimes they think that perhaps I do a better job than my boss or the people who employ me. They tend to be principled people. They have high ideals. They strive for the better, that sort of thing. They're very well organised and motivated, so they can get on their own terms. They don't need someone telling them what to do all the time. People describe them as handy, so they're quite versatile, adaptable people, so you can pick up a new skill and you can adapt and learn things as you go along. And that seems to be a common trait. So that is, roughly speaking, the kind of person who seems to do well at this and take naturally to it. It doesn't sound like you, don't worry, there are plenty of arseholes out there who are doing a great job of earning money, and that doesn't apply to them, any of that description. So I can already see a few people are going, yeah, that sounds a bit like me, I'm a bit of an anarchist, I don't agree with my boss, I don't like that sort of thing. And hopefully that will describe who you are. This is what really spurred me on to write this book and do this talk to people, is that this is the bit that they don't tell you about when you find your business, how to get into freelancing guides that you buy off Amazon, etc. They don't tell you how emotionally demanding it is. And it's not courage in the form of, because you'll hear this from people when you tell people, I'm going to be self-employed, they go, aren't you brave for not taking a desk job and for taking the salary and the responsibility and the managerial position, etc. Aren't you brave for turning that all down and going out there on your own into the world and, just being completely accountable and responsible to yourself? That, to me, is a no-brainer. I much prefer that than the horrendous corporate drone thing I described earlier on. That doesn't sound hard to me. That's the easy part. The hard part is the strain it puts on you, because there's no one to, for example, that when someone, a client, when you're freelancing, gives you criticism, there's no one to dress it up for you. You don't have a line manager, it comes direct to you. There's always that sort of temptation to go back into full-time employment because, well, there's not enough work, there's not much going on, should you chat this all in, what's the point, first 2 years, people will just jump out and just go back on the gravy train. So this is the bit they don't tell you. It's the courage and the bravery. It's taxing, but it's really, really rewarding, because when something goes right, that was you, and that feels really, really nice, and you don't get that, but we'll talk a little bit more about it later on. I put this because I don't know about you, but when I came to freelancing, I thought it just applied to sort of your classic artists, your real creative geniuses could go into this, and I'm not a massive creative genius or anything. I thought that excluded me, but it doesn't. You just have to be all those characteristics I described earlier on. You don't have to be an artist who spends all his time in his basement making artwork out of prawns. You don't have to be that type of sort of genius. You can be a normal human being. Well, I say normal. That's my wife who I'm normal. We're going to talk about a typical day. So I'll describe. I should put it better into context what I mean by freelancing, the freelancing that I do and that Andy does. Typical day. So you will get a phone call or a message from someone out of the blue who has heard about you, the freelance designer, writer, whatever you end up being, if you decide to do this, and they will say that they will have heard about you and your work, or they'll have seen your work, or more likely, someone will have said, I know this guy who's really good, or this girl who's really good at the job, I recommend you hire them. So they're already interested, and they say, I've got a problem, and I want you to come and help me fix this problem, because I think you're the right person for the job. That feels nice, right? Then you will go and meet them, you will learn something about a new business, or rather a business in a sector or industry that is new to you that you would have never normally, under normal circumstances, gone and learned about. And then you will make new friends, you will fix that problem for them, you will enter in a sort of discussion and collaboration, and you will help them fix the problem. And they ask for your opinion all the way through, and they treat you like an expert, and they respect your expertise. Regardless of how long you've been in the job, it feels really nice. They just trust you that you're the expert on this. And that's really, really good. It just makes you feel quite nice, that. And then at the end of it, the best thing is they pay you for that. They pay you for your time and your expertise. But even more, even better than that, they will then go out into the world and tell other people about how good this person you are at doing this job. They will recommend you to their friends and colleagues, acquaintances, business network. And it becomes this great big connected cycle of new work arriving and the phone calls increase, etc. So that's a typical day. And it leads to all kinds of new, different experiences. I'll give you a couple of examples. One, I did some photographs for Ecology Building Society going out to Devon and the Highlands of Scotland, taking pictures of these eco-sustainability buildings. And I've never really been in, I've always tried to live in a green way, but it really switched me on to that, and I learned a lot about that, and I got quite passionate about it. And I met lots of interesting people, ate pizza and fed me chocolate bars, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't get this in my previous jobs in full-time employment, and I don't know many people who are lucky enough to have those experiences, but you can create them as a freelancer. And then, if that isn't smug enough for you, here's about one. I had a terrible experience where I had to do work for a regional development agency in Leeds, and they essentially wanted me to do what I was told as a copywriter, to write what they wanted to write, which was awful corporate gibberish. And it was essentially writing a blank cheque for multinational corporate tax dodgers to come and gang rape the economy of Leeds, and that was awful. So it isn't all great experiences, which is why I say courage, it's not all great, but it is mostly great. So there's a reason why I gave you those conscious examples. It's because there are ups and there are downs. Now I accept, again, full-time employment, there are ample opportunities for you to get depressed and ill, as a lot of people do. And you do get highs, but with freelancing, I came to this point earlier on, is that when you get the highs, the really good experiences that enrich your life and you learn something and you learn a new skill and you meet new people, they're far, far, far more superior than the highs you got in full-time employment. I accept, again, I'm talking from my 10 or 12 years experience in full-time employment, but I can tell you the highs in freelancing are better because it's you, and the opportunity and the job that you did was all because of you, and you made it, you chose it, and you're in control of it, and it's a fantastic way to make a lot of responsibility again, so that goes back to the courage part. Yeah, I'll get started. So, a little bit of practical steps now. I think we're about halfway through the talk, we're going quite fast, aren't we? So yeah, despite everything I've said, first thing you should probably do if you want to do it is to get a shit job. Which I know I've said don't do it, it's terrible, but the reason is because there is nothing quite like being a very, very small cog in part of a bigger machine for you to realise just how spectacularly inefficient British commerce is. And when you're inside of this machine and you see how organisations operate and you see how the world of work operates, you will see things that you disagree with and that could work better, and problems that need solving, and they're the things that will make a connection in your mind, and you'll go, oh, actually, I quite enjoy fixing this, I'm quite good at such and such, I can fix that problem. For me, that was corporate gibberish and nonsense, the sort of crap that come out in press releases and websites, and that really makes me angry, and I thought, right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be a one-man sort of mission against terrible communication. That's just me, because I enjoy taking things apart that are complicated and making them simple and understanding how they work. For you, I don't know what it is. Hopefully there's ideas already fermented in your mind, but it seems that the place where those ideas germinate is in a shit job. And you can see it on the inside, and then you extricate yourself after doing a few years of some terrible jobs. And you go, right, well, this is how I want to change the world. This is what I want to do, and that's how I found my calling. And the best place to start is to look at your talents, but we'll come up to that. How do you sort of identify what it is you offer the world? I wrote about this in the book. It's one of the first things I wanted to get across. Is that when I first started as a freelancer, I sort of wet behind the ears and thinking, I was going to events and meeting people and saying, oh yeah, I'm Chris Kenworthy and I'm a freelance copywriter. And I mumbled basically. I didn't speak confidently about what I was. And that was because I thought I didn't have a right to call myself a freelance, whatever it is that you want to do. I felt that I couldn't tell people that because I had no experience, I had no portfolio, I had no connections, and I was talking you to it. And there were so many other people out there who are better at it, and they've got the fat portfolios and the big clients. What right have I got, little old me? But it turns out everyone has the right to call themselves whatever they are. Now, I'm not advocating you go out there and tell people you're a judge or a doctor, because you're going to get in a bit of trouble for doing that. But accepting where you need some sort of professional accreditation, you can just call yourself a freelance designer, biscuit detective, whatever you want to do, from day one, and people will believe it. And the reason people believe it is because a lot of people, despite what the right-wing press tell you, people are generally good and they're very trusting, and they like talking to you and they believe what you say. As long as you keep your promises and you do what you promised to do at the start of a job with a client, they're quite trusting. And you'll learn that there are good people out there, and no one's ever asked to see my CV or really gone through my portfolio, so if you're nervous about what examples of work can I show clients, don't really worry about that. That won't stand in your way. It just comes down to you going, well, that's me, I'm a freelance, whatever it is. You just assert that and speak with conviction and passion, and it counts for a lot more than the experience and the years behind you. So that's what I'd say if you're going to come into this from scratch. Okay, so work on that self-belief. I'm starting to sound a bit like a life coach now, aren't I? Like a spiritual sort of pat on the back kind of guy. And I'm not that sort of person, but you realise that all those things and the things people put on Facebook about believing in yourself, they make me a bit sick, but they're sort of true, and it's quite annoying, and you'll find that as you go along. Finding work. this is the big question. I did a talk the other day, and students were asking me this question: how do you find work? And sort of people want you to give them a really easy answer about what you can do. Sadly, there isn't a magic thing you can do. I can tell you what works for me. I keep a lively web presence, so I blog and write about what I do, my experiences, how I'm developing professionally. I go on LinkedIn, Twitter, all the things that you've probably heard people do, and I recommend it. It's useful. You'll pop up on web searches when people are looking for you. That's good. But the way work actually turns up is so chaotic and random and unpredictable that you can't sort of plan for it, and you can't go out there and make it happen. It just happens. Well, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, one of his biggest clients, now he's a graphic designer, one of his biggest clients is a guy who used to be a neighbour of mine when I lived briefly in Harrogate for a few months. And it's just happened that I was upstairs in the smallest room having a sit-down interlude, and I turned round to get the toilet paper, and the bathroom sash window was open, and there's a guy stood looking at me, and our eyes meet. It might be obvious what I'm doing, I don't know, but I stood up and I sort of just made myself a bit comfortable, and I said, oh yeah, and so you're the new guy who's just moved in, and said, yeah, been here a while. And we got talking about what we do, and then I said, yeah, I do this on Freelancer, and he said, oh, I'm in the publishing and whatnot, and he said, oh, I need a guy to do my website design, stationery and whatnot. And I said, oh, I know a guy who does that, I know graphic design, etc., and that led to me putting him in touch with someone I knew. What my friend doesn't know is that, obviously I wouldn't have leave him on my pants around my ankles, but I've not had the heart to tell him that, but that is the kind of thing that happens where you get work from. It's just chance encounters, serendipity we call it. And the only way you can create those serendipitous moments is to be in the right place at the right time. But obviously you can't be everywhere, you can only spread yourself so thinly. And I just say pursue the interests that you have, the talents, the societies you're members of, the hobbies, I don't know. You can have just conversations with people. Wherever you're going to meet people, just not steer the conversation around to what you do to live in. It just tends to come up anyway. But if you talk with conviction and passion to people, and you sound interested in what you do, and you're interested in what they do, and you think, oh, there might be an opportunity or whatnot, that is how work happens, and that is the way to find work. Sorry, there's not a magic answer to how to find it. But what I'd say is that something always does turn up. I don't know how this happens, but it's as if the universe knows when sort of you're a bit hard up and you need some work, and something just will turn up. It's because I've been doing it for 7 years. I appreciate that, and the reason is because work breeds more work. It takes a few months when you start freelancing to get one decent project or a handful of decent projects, and they lead to other work because you find what you're good at and people talk about what you've done. So all it takes is breaking that seal at the start. And a young girl the other day asked, she said, oh, it's all very well coming here telling us in our 20s that you should be a freelancer. I've got no experience, no portfolio, I don't do that. And it is that, it just takes a little time at the start to break that seal and for one job to lead to another. That's how it started with me. It was just at the start, sort of wondering, oh God, I'm a bit of a fraud, and then all of a sudden, a link comes in, something came in after there's a friend of a friend who recommended me, and that led to a job, and it was a big job. That led to more work from that person. They told other people, they told other people, and it's just exponential. And it starts, and this concept of it always turning up, it does happen later down the line. So yeah, that's your obstacle. I wouldn't worry about it at the start. As you go on, it does definitely get easier. Yeah, I spoke at the start about. I'm not going too fast. Are you following me, by the way? I keep having to wet my mouth because I'm drying up and speaking so much. This was, I mentioned it's a way of life, and the reason I say that is because, well, if you want to make a sustainable living for yourself, live responsibly, the easiest way to do that, I find, is to shrink my outgoings so that my disposable income goes further. People always ask you about money, so I'm just heading that off at the pass. I'm going to cover it now. Conventional wisdom says if you want to do less work, what you do is you do some really lucrative work, a big fat contract for 6 months, earn a lot of money, and then sit on that nest egg for a while and not work. That, in theory, sounds like a good way to live sustainably, but in reality what happens is if you do short-term lucrative work, it thieves you your time and your energy, and you end up in a cycle of then going, well, I don't have any time and money now. I don't have any time and energy now, so I'll buy some stuff to make me happy, and you just end up falling into this cycle of the global crap politics, I call it, of being stuck in this position where you're just working to make more money and spending it quick. Anyway, that's not the way to live happily. The other option is to increase your rates and to ask clients to pay more so you can work less. Doesn't seem right to me that you should go and ask clients to subsidise your lifestyle choice. So what I devised at the start when I went freelance was I shrank my outgoings, just a little prudence here and there, so that I, between jobs, could live for longer on less. I hope this is making sense now. And it sounds obvious, but so many people just get this wrong. I had very little income coming in, so I made simple choices like I used public transport much more, I ate a bit less meat, I cancelled the gym membership, I went on a cheaper phone contract. Little marginal gains like that I'm sure you're familiar with now, sort of living on a shoestring as a student. And if you can keep that going, it means that there's less pressure for you to go out there and find work because, well, you don't need to. You can last for longer on smaller amounts of work and you can really stretch it out. And that's the less stress for you for work, but also gives you more time to do the other things that you enjoy. And that's the power of freelancing. Because you're in control, you can regain more time to do the things you love. That thing people always say, well, I haven't got time to do it. Freelancing makes you more tuned into priorities in your life. So this client work researching, that's the priority at the minute. Oh, I've not got much work. My freelance work is a lower priority, so I'll go and make a cake, or go for a walk, or take the dog out. Whatever you find is fun, and that is what living should be about. Not just going into work because you have to go to work. Doesn't make any sense. If you've not got any work, don't work. That's sort of how I try and do things, and I tend to work about 3 days out the week, and that works for me. I earn enough to live, and that's sort of the way of life that I've been trying to express throughout this talk. I threw this in because what's a PowerPoint presentation without a completely meaningless chart? Look at that. What does it even mean? I'm not entirely sure myself, but what the point I'm trying to make is that if you pick up, we're still on the subject of how to get started, how to find work, by the way. If you pick up books off the shelf about how to get started as a freelancer, they will teach you to do this sort of thing. Maybe if you do a business degree, you'll know all about market segmentation and going out and finding niches in the market to exploit with your business. That's what will be taught to do if you talk to the experts. In reality, I can tell you that happiness doesn't lie in finding the specialists and rationalists who will want to take advantage of your freelance skills. Don't bother, waste of time. I would probably say concentrate on identifying your talents, what gets your goal, what annoys you, what do you enjoy doing, what did you, when you were younger, what did you find fun? Those sort of things are where you will find the answer in what you offer to the world. It's a big question, I realise it, and it's a lot of navel gazing. And at the start of your freelance career, if you decide to do it, you won't work that out, it will take a while. What I originally started out doing as a freelancer changed within maybe 3 years or so, and then I had a better idea of what it is I do. And it's still changing now, and that's great because that flexibility is baked into your job description as a freelancer, and it should change. And clients never come up to you and they say, I want bog basic graphic design or press releases, I don't want anything unusual at all, I just want straight off the shelf writing, designing. It doesn't happen. They come up to you and they say, okay, I need a bit of this and I need a bit of that. Can you do voiceovers for an animation? Can you do an animation script? That sort of thing. And I've never done stuff like that. And you go, okay, I'll have a look, and you work it out, and you learn how to do it, and that's a new skill, and you add that onto your, what you offer to your clients, your roster, your website, and then you get work from that, and that's brilliant. Your job is always changing. There's no performance reviews, it's just an ongoing development of yourself. So create your place. So start with you if you want to find out what it is you do and what you're marketing to people. Begin with yourself, don't go out into the market, look at other people's websites and see what they're doing, because that will just destroy your self-esteem. Don't do that. Start with yourself, believe in yourself first. Oh, he's trying that spiritual stuff again, isn't he? Believe in yourself, and it's a much more happier place to begin with, and then go out in the market and then test what it is you're offering, and if it's wrong, adapt it, change, or find new clients. That's the way around I did it, and it worked for me, and it seems to still work. So, we're sort of coming to the end now, which is quite fortuitous given that my mouth feels like the desert. I'll recap on what we've spoken about, this sort of barrage of positivity and self-affirmation that I've been forcing down your throats for the last half hour. We spoke about the kind of persons who would do well at freelancing. So the free-thinking person, doesn't get on with authority, well-organised, motivated, that sort of thing. Those traits, if you think that might be you and you fit the bill, then you're going to find it a lot easier than other people. But as I said, that doesn't preclude you from being a freelancer. You should try it if you think it's for you and it sounds exciting. We spoke a little bit about the smug lifestyle of living responsibly and happily and choosing what work you want to do on your terms. I just want to add that, in case you're wondering, I do have grown-up responsibilities like a mortgage and bills to pay and that kind of thing. So it is possible to fit within this sort of massive capitalist avalanche that is sweeping the world. You can find a place for yourself in it and not earn very much, but still be really happy. It is possible. Maybe it's just because we're looking to do that in Great Britain. It's the positivity, spiritual thing again. The well-being, it's really important, above all else, that you are aware of the emotional, I don't want to say burden, but the emotional challenge that freelancing is before you get into it. No one warned me, and I wish they had, like Andy said. That's why I threw all that stuff in the book. And it doesn't read like a spiritual self-help book. Honestly, it is. It's just very rude, really. But focus on all the way through on what you want to get out of freelancing, because that will guide you through the good times and the bad times when you're drinking mess on the station. Like that, you've got to concentrate on what you want to get out of it. And finally, freelancing, it isn't an end in itself. It's something that keeps going. We spoke about this. That's how I said it's an ongoing personal development thing. And the ups and downs that come along are very testing, but they're very rewarding. But ultimately, isn't that what life should be? It should be a sequence of cumulative events that are good and bad that make you a better person for it. And freelancing delivers that. It's brilliant. It's just made for, well, everyone, I'd say, but that kind of person I described earlier. So that comes to the end of my little